Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Church. Nelly, Waruru, Jerry, the entire family, friends. We're here today to both mourn but celebrate a man who was a dear and close friend to many of us. A man who was the life of any gathering. A man who was generous beyond any imagination. I had the opportunity to first meet Kanja in 1980. And in 1980, I was traveling to America for the very first time to begin my studies there. And we happened to travel with Sue Mathenge, Sue Daddy now, I don't know whether she's here. There you are, yeah. She had been there before, so she was charged by my mother to ensure that I made it to school. So at that time I was in New Jersey and we traveled together. She got me to school, made sure we were settled. She at that time was with us. So she told me, if anything and you feel there's any issues, I have a cousin of mine. His name is Kanja. He doesn't live too far from here. I'll tell him you're around and I'll ask him to check on you and to see how you're doing. And that was that. In America, they have all these short holidays. I don't know, Thanksgiving, I don't know. They're all there, different little holidays. Where unfortunately, foreign students have nowhere to go. You just remain in school because school is closed. Where you go in for 3-4 days, I used to work in the library in the school. So one day with another foreign student, I'm walking back from the library back to the dormitory. And out of the blue, I hear this loud voice shouting, "Hey, Pepe!" Both me and my friend, we turn around, looking and not recognizing it. Yeah, you, the African. I was like, I don't know how you knew the other fellow was not African, since we also have a white African. And he came up and he says, "Are you so-and-so?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I was told by my cousin to hold your hand." I'm like, "Oh, so you must be Kanja." "Yes, I'm Kanja." "What are you doing?" "Nothing." "My car is just parked over here. Let's go. Just pick a few things and go to my place." I looked at this stranger fellow, so confident, just telling me to get into this. I proceeded to do just that. Got into his car and we traveled to his apartment. And that became my second home. To the extent that one day, as you heard, he used to work at UPS. I took the train and traveled to Jersey City, where he was based. And I happened to arrive there. Kanja had already gone to work. So there was, in his apartment block, there was a place, the ground floor, where we used to go and have tea. come through this tea place. He would find me there. So he came and he asked me, eventually, how long have you been there? Only about a couple of hours. He said, hey, look, what do you do now? Tomorrow morning, I'll sort this out so you don't have to always just wait for me here. The next morning, he made a copy of a key of his apartment, he gave it to me and told me, whenever you're here, you just, and the couch is there, ni kwako nyumbani. And we started a relationship from that day to date. Came back, and we eventually came back home, got into partnership, various business ventures which we tried out. I eventually went into politics. Got into that. Kanja was still around, and in fact, during my very early days, he used to be one of my agents. And as you know, the party I belonged to those days was not very popular in my part of the world. So he has also eaten a few stones on my behalf. Being my agent. And we continued our friendship all the way through. I'll never forget even when I was president. Kanja would never address me as president. He would never address me as Your Excellency. As you heard, he had a nickname for everybody. Me, I was always, Papa, how are you doing? And the other thing he was very good at is sharing, as you've heard, he was very active on his phone. So I can assure you I suffered immensely during my tenure as president, because any of these memes, the one that showed me in the worst light, you can guarantee Kanja will forward me. He would ensure it's forwarded, and with that, those emojis go laughing. So I'd call him and tell him, Kanja, why are you doing this? Why don't you? No, wait, it's funny, isn't it funny? But he continued, and as I said, even December 12th, we were all together. No one would ever have imagined that the lively Kanja that we saw on that day, within a very short period of time, would not be with us. Even during that whole time, and before, he would still now share emojis and memes, but now a different guy. And in fact, the last message he sent me was almost, I think, the beginning of January. And the most amazing thing is he never mentioned anything about him being unwell, as we have heard here from Waruru. He was still sending his jokes. He was still keeping everybody's spirit high. And it was only when I bumped into Gary at another function where we lost my cousin, that he told me, our friend is in hospital. I said, what? He told me, he's in hospital. I told him, just less than 2 days ago, he didn't show any. So I went to see him. Weak, but he didn't want to talk about his illness. He wanted to talk to me about What a wonderful December he had with his family, and how he was encouraging them to meet regularly, and how that they would have to continue to be together and to get to know each other more. Told me about the unfortunate incident of Wairimu's husband, but he would not talk about his illness. When I asked him, so how are you feeling? I'm okay, I'm okay. I'm just waiting for the arrangements to be made to go to India, and they'll fix me up, and I'll be fine. He showed nothing. Despite the fact that you could see he was struggling, he showed no sign and did not even want it to become a discussion. And that was Kanja, a man, brave, loyal, and he did that because he didn't want it to affect anybody else. But I also agree with Waruru as we move forward. I think we should be honest about some of these things, and maybe if we're honest about them early enough, maybe something can be done. But Kanja lived his life to the fullest. There's no question about that. Kanja was one of those friends who was there, good times or bad. And I think the lesson of his life is a lesson to each and every one of us. We shall miss him, this great, joyful, happy man who made sure that nobody was ever really left behind or left out. Made you feel involved, made you feel loved, made you feel wanted, made you part and parcel of whatever was going on. We shall miss you, Kanja. And to Nelly, your family, we are always there for you. Whatever you shall need, whenever you require, you're in our thoughts, you're in our prayers. And our friendship does not cease because Kanja is with us. Our friendship, as he taught us, continues regardless. May God rest his soul in eternal peace and grant us all comfort in our hearts, and grant his family the strength to endure next years without him, and rather than mourn, to cherish and to be happy about the moments that God gave you to be with this wonderful man. Mungu awabariki na walinde. Asante sana.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for those moving words about